Hello everyone. Today's poem is 侠客行. This video is also my personal memorial to the greatest Kung Fu novel writer Jin Yong. And this is also about the 侠客, a Chinese hero. Let's see how a Chinese hero is like. I had a previous video reading this poem, so I would go straight forward to explain this poem now. 侠客行. 行 is not walking. Here is a style of the poem, just like 侠客之歌, the song for the 侠客. The 侠客 is the Chinese hero. It's not equivalent to the English hero. So let's see through this poem how the Chinese hero is alike. This poem was one of the very well-known poem by Li Bai, the most famous Tang poet. And this poem was written in the age of 43, just after he was abandoned by the emperor. Li Bai himself actually very liked the art of fencing, and he carried the sword with him in his lifelong time. When he left his hometown in the age of 24, he said, 仗剑去国, 仗剑, carry the sword. So this also reflects his dream to contribute the country through the military service and through the military victories. Anyhow, he was known by the talent on the writing poems. He never went to the imperial exams to get a position in the government. He just make acquaintance with the noble people, the high-ranking officials, and finally the emperor know his fame on the poet and gave him a position to serve the emperor very closely, writing poems, the songs for the dining for the parties. So this make Li Bai actually very nervous. He want to serve the military service and not writing poems. And finally, he made the emperor very angry by some of the mistakes. The emperor abandoned him. So he was given a lot of gold by the emperor, and he has the money, but he lost his position, which is a gateway to his lifelong pursuit. So that's the background of writing this poem, and this poem actually expresses his ultimate dreams to pursue the military service and contribute to the country. 赵客缦胡缨，吴钩霜雪明. These two sentences are static description of the appearance of the Chinese hero. 赵客, the people from the kingdom of Zhao, roughly is the place of today's Hebei province around Beijing. So this area is quite famous for the 侠客. There's so many famous Chinese heroes from this area. 赵客, 燕赵豪杰, 侠客, so almost the same meaning. 缦胡缨 is describing to the rope attached to the hat. The 缨 is the rope. 缦胡缨 is description, which is actually it use a part of the picture to reflect the whole clothing actually. 缦胡缨 is very simple and humble style. So actually it refers to the clothing of the 赵客, the people from the kingdom of Zhao, is quite simple and humble. 吴钩霜雪明. 吴钩 is a weapon, it's an Asian weapon. 霜雪明, it shines like the snows and the frost. It's shining, it's so beautiful or so sharp. So the first two sentences has the contrast of the outfit. The clothing is so simple and humble, but the weapon, the 吴钩, is so sharp, shining. The first two sentences describe a static picture, and now we comes to dynamic. 银鞍照白马, 飒沓如流星. The silver saddle on the horse shining with the white horse mutually, means the silver saddle shines on the white horse. Also the white horse also shines on the silver saddle. 飒沓如流星. 飒沓 is a simulation to the sound when the horse rising. It's describing the swift, the speedy running of the horse. It's just like the meteor across the sky. So it's very dynamic. From the first two sentences, you know the Chinese hero, 侠客, they wear a very humble and simple clothes, but they have the best horses, because horses is so important for them. The horses actually is a very expensive things in the ancient China. It's just like the business jet today. So you can see the Chinese hero, they don't care their out appearance, but they focus a lot on their weapons, their horses. So that's the 侠客. 不杀一人, 千里不留行. Kill a person within 10 steps, and through 1,000 miles trip, nobody can stop him. So that's the behavior of a Chinese hero, very capable, and nobody can stop him. This verse actually is from the Zhuangzi, the ancestor of the Taoism, roughly 1,000 years ago before Li Bai. So Li Bai is very fond of Taoism. Actually, he went to Shandong province on this trip, which on this trip he write this poem. He went to Shandong to get the admittance rights to get into the Taoism, to become formal as a believer to the Taoism. So that's why he was so fond of the Zhuangzi, and he quoted him. 事了拂衣去， 深藏身与名. Once the job done, which means kill a person in 10 footsteps, he just go away and hidden himself somewhere and never care about the fame, because the person he killed normally is some of the figures in the country or in the society. So here it describes what the Chinese hero behave, kill person, and he can move around within the country. Nobody can stop him. And the virtue, which is he doesn't care about the fame, the money, of course, and he just get his job done and go back to the place or hide himself somewhere as before. Above is a description of a typical Chinese hero, how it looks like, and his horse his sword, his weapons, and how he behaved. And that's a typical Chinese hero looks like. And now it's kind of the reality and imagination combined of the Li Bai himself and with the historical figures. Let's see. 闲过信陵饮，脱剑膝前横. So happily he crossed the Xinling. Xinling is a place, and also it refers to one of the ancient noble people. He's very famous for the leader of the Chinese heroes, which is all his guests. He provide the food, provide the money to host thousands of Chinese heroes in his huge palace, huge house, Xinlingjun. So, and also it's a place because he has a big place. He's a noble people. So as Li Bai here could be a reality, could be a imagination. He think he's just happened to go by this place, the place where it used to be the Xinling's place, Xinlingjun's place, and his drinks, it means drinks. 脱剑膝前横. So it describes how the drinking looks like. He take off his sword and put it on his knees, and that's how they drinks. 将炙啖朱亥, 持觞劝侯嬴. 朱亥 and 侯嬴 is two ancient person or two ancient Chinese hero, roughly 1,000 years before Li Bai. So here is sort of the imaginations. Li Bai crossed the place of Xinling, and where is the place Hou Ying and Zhu Hai lives, and they are the two guests of the Xinlingjun, and so they just eat the barbecues together and cheer toast to each other with Hou Ying. 炙 is barbecue. 将炙 is he holds the barbecue. And 持觞 is hold the wine in his hand. So the sentence sequence is a little in the reverse. So actually is with Zhu Hai, we take the barbecue and eat. With Hou Ying, we hold the wines and cheer to each other. So that's the real sequence. 三杯吐然诺，五岳倒为轻. So still imaginations. So we just drink about 3 cups of wines, and then I promised to someone. 吐然诺, 吐 means you speak out. 然诺 is promise. 然 is yes, 诺 is promise. So he make a very confirmative promise to someone. 五岳倒为轻. So the 然诺 could be very ridiculous, doesn't make sense, but that's not the point. The key point is you just make the promise, and no matter how it is, how difficult it is, or how ridiculous it is, keep your promise is much heavier than the 5 sacred mountains. So in the real sentence, it means the Chinese hero speak out his promise, and compared with the promise, the 5 sacred mountain is much lighter. And this is a very typical Chinese way to compare which is heavy, which is not, or which is important, which is not important. The heavy is the similar sense with the importance. And the sacrifice normally is thought as the very, very heavy or very, very important things. So the promise is more important and more heavier than the 5 sacred mountains. Chairman Mao has one of the very famous sentence, 重于泰山. So it's much heavier than the Tai mountain. Tai mountain is the east sacred mountain. So which means the Chairman Mao want to express something or someone is so important and it's more important or heavier than the mountain of Tai mountain. 眼花耳热后，意气素霓生。眼花耳热, that's a description. They drink a lot of wines. That's very natural. They cannot see very clearly. 眼花耳热, the air feels very hot because of the alcohol. 意气素霓生, 意气, so the spirit is very high. And also 素霓, a ni is rainbow. 素霓 refers to the white rainbow. It's abnormal, right? Yes, in the Chinese believings, if the nature has something abnormal, it will be reflected in the human's world. So the 侠客 is a very, very important one because when they drink, they make the nature appear some abnormal things, or it's hard to say which is the root cause, the abnormal nature appearance, or it's just because the 侠客 would do something so important to change the nature. It's hard to tell, but it's combined together and they comes together. So the 侠客 they make a promise, and some big things would happen, and also the nature appeared some of the abnormal appearance. The white rainbow is abnormal, so they comes together. Some big things will happen. 挥照旧金锤，邯郸先震惊。千秋二壮士，煊赫大梁城。So this is a real story 1,000 years ago. It's about Zhu Hai and Hou Ying. So in the last paragraph, Li Bai has somehow the daydream. He's drinking with Zhu Hai and Hou Ran. And now the poet go back to the real story. So let me give a very brief on the stories. A famous story even until today, and the time is roughly 1,000 years ahead of Li Bai's time. So that's the end of the warrior states period. There's 7 kingdoms, and they battled with each other. And the kingdom of Qin is the most strongest, and he has a war with the king of Zhao right now. And the kingdom Zhao sent someone to ask help from the kingdom of Wei, where is the Xinlingjun's kingdom, and also where is Hou Ying and Zhu Hai lives. Zhu Hai and Hou Ying is the guest of the Xinlingjun. The king of Wei evaluated the situation and refused the request of the kingdom Zhao. And this is not concerned by Mr. Xinlingjun, the junior brother of the king, and he made his own effort try to help out to support Kingdom Zhao to fight with the army of Qin. It was a little complicated, but three-way things. And Hou Ying made a plan for Xinlingjun that even with thousands of guests of Xinlingjun, actually it's nothing to the army of the kingdom of Qin. So they pretend to, by the order of the king, and they went to the army of the Wei, because the king and the army and the general is in two places. So they pretend to have the order by the king, and they want to take over the control of the army. The general doesn't believe that, and doesn't believe Xinlingjun, even he's the junior brother of the king. And even they showed the Hufu, the sort of the king's letter, which is normally to be the evidence to take the control of the army. The general doesn't believe that. And at this time, Zhu Hai came out. He killed the general with an iron ball, Jin Cui. And by killing the general, they take over the control of the army, and they went to the battlefield and against the army of Qin together with the Kingdom of Zhao's army, and they made the victory. They defeat the army of Qin. So that's the story quoted by Li Bai here, and that's the hero, the Chinese hero Li Bai think is the most example for the Chinese hero. Mr. Jin Yong's Kung Fu novel actually brings this very ancient hero spirits back to today. In his novel, he has the word 侠之大者为国为民. So how can be a great Chinese hero? Or the greatest point to be as a Chinese hero is you contribute for the people, for the country. The way is killing someone, but the purpose is more important. It's not for some personal stuff. It's for the people. It's for the country. So that's basically is the fundamental spirit of a Chinese hero, 侠客. So here I just point out some of the key words here. 救赵, so the kingdom of Zhao. So they go there to help out kingdom of Zhao. 挥金锤, so he waved his weapon. The weapon is 金锤, is just like a ball, a metal ball. And邯郸 is the capital city of Zhao. 千秋二壮士, so 千秋means the two people, 二壮士, the two people, their fame lasts for 1,000 years. So they did really big things. 烜赫大梁城, 大梁城 is the capital city of Wei. So they make a victory at the capital of the kingdom of Wei. 大梁城 is the capital city name. And the last two sentences, 纵死侠骨香, 不惭世上英. So after telling the story of the real stories of the Chinese hero, Li Bai just sum up here. no matter it's a victory or not, in the history it's a victory actually. Even the hero, the Chinese hero, the 侠客 died. His fame will last. 侠骨香, his bone has a so good flavor. Actually, it means he has a very good reputation of fame last. And this also comes from another Chinese way of telling things is smells a good smell or bad smell. Firstly, it refers to the plants, 香草, and later the smell reflects the characters and the achievement of a person. So if the good smell refers to the good characteristics and good behavior. 不惭世上英, so he will never feel any sorrow among the Chinese heroes in the history, even it's a failure or he died. 谁能书阁下，白首太玄经. So this is a little quotations. 阁下 refers to a scholar, a very famous scholar, Yang Xiong in the Han Dynasty, roughly 800 years ago before Li Bai. Very famous scholar. So he's write a lot of books. 太玄经 is the books he wrote. So the last two sentences actually means who will follow the famous scholar Yang Xiong until his hair got all white. He's still writing the famous book 太玄经. Nobody will follow him. And myself, Li Bai, will never follow him. 纵死侠骨香，不惭世上英. These two sentences actually is a little weird here actually, because the story he quoted two Chinese heroes, 朱亥 and Hou Ying, they made a victory and they came back alive. So here actually it implies the most famous and the most well-known Chinese hero, Jin Ke. We had talked something about his story in another poem, 一水歌, so you can check the details of that. So why Li Bai not just write straightforward about Jin Ke and rather use these two sentences as a metaphor or as implications indirect? Because Jin Ke is the great Chinese hero, but in another sense, he's the anti-emperor. So he's not allowed by the political correct. So in any dynasties, you're against the emperor. It's not political correct. Just like in Li Bai's time, he will never have the thought to anti the emperors. For Zhu Hai and Hou Ying, they are different because the three kingdoms have the battles, and Zhu Hai and Hou Ying, they did the things for his country, for his kingdom, and for the people of his kingdom. So these two Chinese heroes is political correct. So that's why Li Bai just used the story of Zhu Hai and Hou Ying and not use the Jin Ke, but everybody knows the greatest Chinese hero, 侠客, is Jin Ke. There's a film by the very famous Chinese director Zhang Yimou. on that, or maybe not Zhang Yimou. I just don't see too much films, and you can have a look. That is about the story of Jin Ke assassin the first emperor. The name is hero, I believe. Yong has used his own words to express this hero rules or hero spirits. 侠之大者，为国为民. So what makes the hero the greatest? What he do is all for his people and all for his country. So that's also the Li Bai's dream. So that's why he cannot endure the life to serve the emperor with his poem. He wants to serve the emperor, or in other words, to serve the country with his talent in the military service, with his sword. Anyhow, he has no chance. So this poem was just re-emphasize what his dream is, even he was just abandoned by the emperor. Okay, it's a little hard for the modern people to start the way at the Asian Chinese and praise the Chinese hero to such a level. And Mr. Jin Yong did an excellent job, a great job. He used his kung fu novel to remind today's people what it is like. Kill someone, very important one, of course, and with this sequence benefits your people and benefits your country, and forget all the money and fame around it, and you don't care about your life, you don't care anything, you just did the something nobody can imagine maybe, and then go away, hiding somewhere, or die for it. Okay, that's for today, and that's my personal salute and memorial to Mr. Jin Yong. Bye bye.